Okay, just a very brief video, I guess. I think most of you know by now there's been some pretty bad riots in the UK over the last 2 to 3 days. It started on Saturday in Tottenham, which is South London. A man was shot by police, and the speculation seems to be that he was a drug dealer of some sort, and police shot him, and we don't know the ins and outs of it all, so you can Google it if you want to know more about the background to these riots. But as somebody who was born in London and somebody who spent many years living in London, I've never seen anything quite like this in my life. And we had phone calls and text messages last night from extended family members that live in South London, telling us that things were pretty bad. They were pretty scared as to what was going on. And like I say, we've had riots in London over the years, the poll tax back in the 90s, the G20, the G8, but nothing quite like this. The bottom line here, when you look at these kind of events, is a lot of disgruntled men and women, some of them completely cut off from society, completely disillusioned, disgruntled, so on and so forth, are using this sort of thing, this sort of unrest, as an excuse to loot and to steal and to pretty much treat their fellow man with absolute contempt. And the bottom line is quite simple. When you tell people that there is no God, when you tell people that they come from animals, when you tell people there's no higher authority, then people will act like animals. And this is the gentleman that was shot, as I say, on Thursday, I believe it was, last week. And the suggestion is that this was the trigger or the excuse to allow people to go on the rampage, start looting. And of course we know that religious people also can ultimately kill one another. We saw that during the Crusades, the Catholics and the Muslims. We saw it in Northern Ireland, the Protestants and the Catholics. But bottom line is, if you are a born again Bible believer, if you are spirit filled, if you are walking with the Lord, then you would never ever have any time for this sort of thing. You would never ever want to be associated with this kind of madness. Ephesians chapter 4 says that man gives himself up. Romans chapter 1 says that the Lord gives that person up. And when that happens, you are completely finished. And it's the survival of the fittest. It's the animal rule. And of course, if you have the gun, then you will survive, as Mao Zedong said. But what you might want to get from this is the suggestion by some Christians, and I've seen some videos and some posts already in the past 24 hours, that this could be the beginning of the last days. It's possible. 2 Timothy said there would be perilous times, and as a Bible believer, as somebody who believes that the end times are here and now, it's quite possible that this could be the beginning of the end. Who knows? But one thing I know for sure, as somebody who lives in the UK, as somebody who mixes with ordinary men and women, unsaved men and women, is that there will be no revival. I don't believe for one moment that there will be any revival. And if you're saved, if you're born again, please pray for Christians around the UK, that they are safe during these dark times, and please pray for our leaders. The Word of God says you are to pray for those that are in authority, that they would make the right decisions. And please pray for the police, who have to try and restore law and order. But ultimately, what you're seeing here is a judgment on the UK, unsaved men and women taken to the streets in 2011, trying to cause mayhem and misery. And so far, very fortunately, nobody has been killed. But we'll see how the next 24 to 48 hours go. So keep your prayers focused on the UK. As I say, pray for the saved men and women, pray for the police who are trying to do the best they can, and hopefully, Lord willing, this madness will recede and some kind of calm will be restored sooner rather than later.